y'all. Welcome to Cost Politics. First New Year's midweek 2021 midweek fix. 2021
the
midweek
sequel.
fix.
2020 the sequel. That's what I've been calling it.
Yeah, the sequel, really.
I think it's 2020 the decade.
That's exactly what it is.
Right?
Yeah.
That's right.
We're just getting
So we're
started.
going to have 10 sequels.
We're just getting
Or
started.
9.
2021 is fixing to tell 2020, hold my beer.
That's
There you go.
exactly what's going on.
Hold my beer. It's going to get cray-cray.
Is that what you're drinking in there?
Cray-cray. No, that's not.
But you
what I'm
should.
drinking. I
You should. You
And
should
my
be.
Fight, Laugh, Feast, I
Tumbler.
should have that. I should have that there.
Where's my tumbler?
Man, it's good to be back in the studio.
Where's my tumbler?
This is, I don't know.
It's not this one?
I don't know.
It's not this one? It's not, you
No.
got your big one.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's all right.
I don't feel good when I don't have my tumbler. Anyway,
We got, before we kind of get into everything real quick, we kind of got an announcement to give everybody.
while the president's talking, you're just going to do your announcement, right?
President's talking.
Just real quick. We're going to get there
Okay.
real quick. We are, because of kind of, I think, some of the things that have happened this last year, kind of going in 2021, we're going to do 2 conferences this year.
Sort
Pray
of.
for us.
Sort of. We're going to do
Right, sort of, yeah.
Of course, our Tennessee conference is happening in October, but coming up April 29th through May 1st, we're going to do a Fight, Laugh, Feast rally in South Dakota, land of the free, home of the brave.
And bring your motorcycle.
Yes, bring
Yes.
your motorcycle,
That's
your leather jacket, all that stuff.
Why South Dakota?
And the reason why we chose South Dakota, actually for 2 reasons, is because when the governor's
I need to share the
tourism
show.
department found out about our conference in Tennessee, they called us up and said, "Hey, we'd love for you to come and do a conference here in South Dakota." So that's
which is really fun.
Actually, yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
It's
Yeah.
funny to have states inviting you to come.
So I know, and it's odd in this moment too, you know. And so that actually kind of got us thinking along this way. But then the second reason why we want to do this is because the church has been really scattered this year. A lot of God's people aren't going to church, or their church is not really is doing online service or some sort of variation that's just not good leadership and good courage. And so we're going to do a second conference in South Dakota for this reason. We want to bring God's people together. We want the title of the conference is Love God, Sing Psalms, Defy Tyrants. So it's really, I think, very applicable. Steve Dace is going to be speaking.
Woohoo!
Sheriff Daryl Wheeler is going to be speaking.
That's
Pastor Toby.
Few sheriffs standing up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Saying, we're not doing this crazy.
So our lineup's going to be awesome. We don't have all our lineup signed on the dotted line yet, so we can't release everybody. But
it's going to be good.
But club members get $50 off for this conference, and so I'll have codes for you guys. You guys can email us at contact@fightlaughfeast.com for those discount codes for the conference. We have family pricing, church pricing, all that stuff. We know it's actually pretty easy. I'll provide some information on this later, but it's actually pretty easy to fly into Rapid City, South Dakota. We know some of the drive might be a little bit for some people, but access isn't too bad.
South Dakota is the freest state in the union.
Yeah, and it has been since the beginning.
Gabe's brought up the map a few times and said, look at all the states that have some kind of
That's right.
regulations.
That's
And
right.
there's only one. It's right in the middle,
Yep.
South Dakota. Kristi Noem has stood up and said, this is not my job.
That's right. That's right.
You are free people. You make wise decisions. Protect yourselves. I have a particular job under the Constitution and my state constitution, and that's what I'm doing.
Yep.
And so what we wanted to do is when they invited us and we started thinking about this, we said, you know what? It might be kind of crazy to meet in South Dakota.
It is crazy to meet in South Dakota.
I mean, it doesn't.
It's crazy for us to do 2 conferences
It
or 2
doesn't-
rally
Oh,
in a
man.
conference.
It doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense, really.
No.
But
Nope.
we're doing this because we believe in it.
That's right.
We're
Right.
not doing this because it makes fiscal sense or financial sense or
No,
like any.
no.
No, we believe in freedom. We believe in the Constitution. We believe that Jesus Christ is King.
Yeah.
And we want to go and rally there in South Dakota where people are still standing for freedom.
That's
And
right.
we want to invite you to come and rally
right.
with us. We want to bring the gospel to bear on this moment in history. And it seems like October is too long to wait.
Yeah, it is.
Exactly.
It is.
And so,
Yep.
And we
so
need to hit Tennessee
we're-
still, too.
We're still going to be in Tennessee. We're still going to be in Tennessee in
Yep.
October. We're
Yep.
going to be there. If that's where you can meet us there, great. But if you can make it to South Dakota at the end of April, Rapid City, South Dakota, rally with us, fight, laugh, feast, sing psalms, defy tyrants.
That's right.
That's what we're going to be.
Who are you talking to on your phone, Gabe?
I'm trying to share the show, actually.
And so you're trying to do that. You know, the other thing that I've been thinking about, I want to ask you, okay, we got to wait for the president. While you're doing this, how about we just go to the president
Let's
while
see what
Gabe tries to
he's
figure out how
saying.
to share the
Let's do
show?
it.
An ID in order to cast your most important thing, a vote. We will also require proof of American citizenship in order to vote in American elections. We just had a good victory in court on that one, actually. We will ban ballot harvesting and prohibit the use of unsecured drop boxes to commit rampant fraud. These drop boxes are fraudulent. They're they get
what is Facebook going to do?
They disappear, and then all of a sudden they show up. It's fraudulent. We will stop the practice of universal unsolicited mail-in balloting. We will clean up the rules that ensure that every single person who casts a vote is a citizen of our country, a resident of the state in which they vote, and their vote is cast in a lawful and honest manner. We will restore the vital civic tradition of in-person voting on Election Day so that voters can be fully informed when they make their choice. We will finally hold big tech accountable, and if these people had courage and guts, they would get rid of Section 230, something that no other company, no other person in America, in the world has.
He just goes.
All of these tech
He's still campaigning.
Are going to
I know.
It's not over.
That's right.
It's not over.
interfere in our elections.
When is he going to do
And it
this?
has to be stopped.
Yeah, exactly.
The
Next 20
Republicans have
days?
to get
This,
a lot
he,
of
don't know.
votes.
he's going to
Next
decide to
15
do
days.
this if he can get Mike Pence.
Well, he keeps bringing it up.
Yes,
Yeah,
he has at least
this-
7 times.
This is a live rally right now in Washington, D.C.
He's been going on for about an hour and
About
8
an hour.
minutes.
A little over an hour. Yeah.
Hour and 8 minutes
and
so
there's
far.
hundreds of thousands of people in D.C. right now. Of course,
Yeah.
we got our Paula Gio boys and
if
everything.
y'all see Jeff out there, tell him to call me so we can get him on.
We'll get
Talk
him
to him
on,
live right
yeah.
now. Jeff,
We'll do you on live right now.
come on, man.
We'll do it live. and so part of his speech, he keeps mentioning Mike Pence.
If he does
you
the
can
right
solve
thing.
this. You can fix this. And he also keeps saying he has the constitutional basis, Mike Pence does, for basically returning the electors or rejecting the electoral colleges of certain states.
Right.
What's going on there, Toby?
I think Trump's absolutely wrong.
Okay.
I think he's wrong, and I think what he's suggesting is actually
Tyrannical?
pretty dangerous and tyrannical.
Yeah.
The Constitution does not give that authority to Mike Pence as the vice president
to reject it.
to reject
electoral
electoral
college,
votes.
yeah.
Absolutely not. He is the chair of this meeting. So what they're doing today, January 6th, is in the Constitution.
Right.
It's provided for. After the states have certified their votes, they send the votes, and there's a big meeting of Senate and House.
Yeah.
Oh, it's both.
All of them in the
Come together.
same building.
Okay.
And the vice president is given. He is the chair of that meeting.
Right.
Okay. He's the chair of that meeting.
Yeah.
He runs the meeting.
Right.
That's it.
He doesn't control
Does he
it.
break the tie?
No, so here's how it works. You end up with, so the electoral votes, it actually goes in alphabetical order. Alabama, just go first, Alaska, whatever. And they're going to read out the electoral votes. And basically what can happen is that you can have objections. Okay. That can be voiced. And if an objection is voiced, the only way it can actually do anything is you have to have an objection from both houses on the same electoral votes. So you could have, it's actually not that uncommon to actually have objections, usually from the House of
Ted
Representatives.
Cruz is going to do this. He's going to be one of those objectors for Texas, right?
Right. But here's the thing. You have to have at least one objection from both the House and the Senate
Okay.
for it to do anything.
For one objection from the House and Senate for, let's say, Michigan or
Wisconsin,
or
Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Okay.
So both senators need to be on the same page.
Well, no, you just need to have one.
House and Senate.
One from the House, one from the Senate
Right.
is enough to do it. But if you only have one from the House, or you have 100 from the House and 0 from the Senate, it does nothing.
Right.
Your objection is nothing. They just keep going.
Okay.
But if you do have enough, you have at least one from each place, which is likely to happen because you have about 140 representatives who have said they're going to object to at least some. And you have at least about a dozen led by Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley and some others who say they're going to object to some in the Senate. What happens then is it gets kicked to the houses then separate for 2 hours.
Okay.
And you have a House of Representatives meeting and a Senate meeting. And for 2 hours, and they can debate and discuss the objection. And then each side has to vote to sustain the objection and or not.
So Pence don't do nothing yet.
He's not doing nothing. All he does is say, okay, if there's objections on both sides,
y'all go talk amongst yourselves and figure it out. Come back and tell me what we're doing.
Exactly. But what you have to do is you have to have both the Senate and the House sustain objections for the objection to mean anything.
Okay. Before you even get that 2 hour conversation.
No. You get the
Once you're there.
Okay.
But then they both have to vote after the 2 hours.
After the 2, and then
either they say, yeah, that's a good point, or not. Now, what is it's very, very unlikely that the House is going to sustain an objection because it's democratically majority.
Yeah.
The Senate has a slight chance, but very unlikely because a number of Republican senators said, no, we're not going to object.
Yeah,
And
Trump was actually talking about them earlier, too, in his hour and 10 minute
Mitt
talk.
Romney.
A bunch of lazy Republicans.
But even if the Senate voted and said, we sustained the objection, we think it's a legitimate objection, it doesn't do anything if the House doesn't also sustain the objection.
For, let's say, Pennsylvania.
For Pennsylvania. Okay. Even if they did, here's the thing. And let's say they both, on some crazy, cray-cray unicorn universe.
It is 2021.
They both were like, yeah, Pennsylvania, we should throw those out. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Pennsylvania has how many electoral votes? 20 electoral votes.
Something like that,
Biden currently has 303 electoral votes. You throw out 20, he still has 283.
Right.
So you still have to do this for Michigan,
He's still
and
the
Wisconsin,
president, okay?
and Arizona,
so
or whatever.
The only thing that would happen is if you threw out enough electoral votes to get below 270. So what the Constitution says is the guy who gets the majority of the votes, of the electoral votes, which is 270. If it goes below 270, then is when you actually have the House vote by state.
He finally wrapped
on
up.
the president. Oh, he finished. Look at him. Look at him. Okay.
He might come back to the mic. We don't know. This is not over yet. He also encouraged everybody. This was also interesting. You can go ahead and switch up. But he also encouraged everybody to go down to Congress and march down there and support.
Yeah.
Put that little pressure on them.
But here's the thing. There's absolutely nothing in the Constitution about Mike Pence doing anything.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I understand this right. This ain't for everybody. It's just for me. Yeah. After they get done and they say they do decide to go this way, Trump is really hoping for a snowball effect to happen, to get enough below the certain form of electoral votes that then they have to say, we don't have a president now.
Right. And then when that happens, if it drops below the majority, then the Constitution says that the House of Representatives will vote by state.
Now, this thing
one vote per state.
Okay, so this thing you call was Constitution?
Yeah,
is that what you?
It's a thing.
It's a thing, and we're supposed to follow that thing here in America. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, the 12th Amendment was the almost right away update to what they wrote in the Constitution. So the Constitution's ratified 1789 within a couple of years. And then you had, and originally the way it worked is all the electoral votes were cast from all the states. And the top vote getter of electoral votes was the president, and the second was the vice president.
Yeah.
Okay. They did that a couple of times, and they're like,
ain't worked so well.
This is too divisive.
This is crazy. Yeah. And so I think it's 1803, the 12th,
Jefferson? Who?
The 12th Amendment was passed.
Okay.
And that clarified, and what all the electoral votes now since then have to be either cast for president or vice president. And then eventually they kind of became tickets.
Well,
but they wanted to decouple those things and make them distinct. But that's the process. And again, the vice president is the chair of the meeting. He's the one that kind of oversees the opening of the electoral votes.
Right.
There's nothing in the Constitution about the vice president doing
decertifying it himself or whatever.
So then what regulation? And let's say that Pence is under some watching this. I couldn't believe I hadn't seen a rift between the president and the vice president in my lifetime.
He's going on about it in that speech.
He kept going on and putting pressure on Pence
7 times.
So then what regulations, if Pence decides to do this, since it's been crazy, I mean, let's be honest, the election itself was crazy and all sorts of laws within their own states were broken and changed, and we know that. Yeah. So it wouldn't be surprising that Pence might actually do something like this. What regulations are they going to follow? What laws and standards are they going to follow if they kick it back to the states? To do what? How?
Well, I don't think that they can. I don't think there's any precedent. I mean, somebody call in, comment.
I'm going to look on the line.
I don't think there's precedent for kicking it back to the states. Okay. The states have all certified their votes.
Yeah. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It's just up to Congress.
And if they've all certified their votes and sent it in, the Constitution says that the states certify it and they send it in.
Okay.
Now, some of those states might have screwed up.
Right.
They might have done things badly, but it's what the certified votes are sent in. There they are, and Pence's job is just to count them.
Yeah.
I just got an update from the Washington Post saying that Pence says he will not intervene in the Congress electoral to count change or to change the outcome of the election in this Biden's win.
Yeah.
Rejecting Trump's pleas.
Yeah, everybody.
So he's saying that even after, so he had to put something out after the rally.
Right.
He said he's not going to intervene.
Right. Yeah.
Which in this, I mean, it's.
But there's nothing. I mean, to his credit, I think Trump is absolutely wrong on this. I don't think there's something that Pence can do.
Yeah. Right.
I do think if there were enough objections in the House of Representatives and in the Senate that would sustain an objection that would actually set aside electoral votes that said we do not believe these came to us legitimately, then there's a process there to follow. Right. And then if it fell down below a majority of electoral votes, then they would follow the Constitution, and the House of Representatives would select the president, and actually it's the Senate that selects the vice president according to the Constitution.
And we've already, so it's funny because we already have precedent for this already. Right. We already know how to do this if we have a problem. The House and the Senate are
there's a process to follow
already inside place for this.
Right. So this is on the heels of just what happened in Georgia yesterday.
Right. Yeah.
So, Pence is in D.C. today. It's January 6th. I can't even remember. I've been traveling. So, what is it, January 6th today?
I think so.
Happy Epiphany, everybody.
Yes, there you go. Exactly. Some things are going unnoticed.
Happy
12th day of Christmas.
Yes. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Happy Epiphany.
12 drummers drumming.
Yeah.
Is that what you got from your true love?
I'll let you finish. Keep going.
No, that's it.
No, please don't keep going. So we won Georgia.
So it looks like.
Who's we?
It looks
You're talking about Lecrae?
Yeah. Oh, he won.
Lecrae won Georgia.
Let's be honest. Lecrae ain't been winning hardly anything in a long time.
Oh my goodness.
He ain't been winning nothing.
It's funny when people are talking about like when Lecrae switched record labels, they're saying like, oh man, he's betraying record labels and betraying Christians and all that stuff. I'm like, that's switching record labels is not betrayal.
No. He switched record labels?
Yeah. Back. I mean, he was with
Reach.
Is
he
still with Reach?
He owns Reach Records.
Yeah, but I thought he was.
No, he's
man. Okay, man.
I think it might have merged with Columbia or something like that.
Fake news. Fake news.
Yeah, I think it might have done like Columbia or something. Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying.
Well, but everyone's basically been arguing for like last 4 years. Lecrae's been betraying Christians and all that.
But you did see that sad rally that he did for the Democrats in Georgia.
I mean, that's betrayal. That's what that is.
That sad rally.
That was pretty sad.
Him and like 15 people.
It's crazy to me how much the media has just like covered up Warnock and all that he's done.
Well, dude, he's at
Martin Luther King's. Fidel Castro visited his church. Fidel Castro would have voted for Warnock here. Yeah. Anyways, hands down.
Yeah.
Warnock would have voted for Castro.
It's hard to say anything bad against Warnock when he's the pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church, Martin Luther King Jr.'s church in Atlanta. And so that whole street is like sacred. But it's hard. How are you going to what are you going to say against him?
But isn't he the one, though, that preached this infamous sermon about
repent of whiteness?
No.
He did say that. He did preach that in one of the sermons.
Yeah, but that's. Yeah,
I thought that was pretty infamous. I mean, was that not infamous?
No. The one about who's the civil rights leader that just died
recently.
The senator.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
He just died. He said that he quoted Psalm 50.
He was
John, right? John
Isaiah 53, and said, "By his stripes we are healed.
Yes.
By his death we are." It's like it was a likening.
Yep.
Come on,
Lewis.
Yep, John Lewis.
I
had his first name.
He said, by John Lewis's stripes we are healed. Yeah. Like that's the infamous thing I was talking about.
We should have taken him down out of the pulpit at that point and stoned him.
Yeah. And what do we do?
We should have taken him out of. We should have.
Georgia just elected him as their senator.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you know
he didn't get defrocked.
Yeah.
He didn't get run out of town.
No.
He got elected.
He got promoted.
Georgia said, "We want you to lead us."
Yeah. And I do. Y'all remember Roger Skeppel? Roger Skeppel's our brother out there in Atlanta.
Oh, bro, I caught that. You shared that message that Pastor Skeppel gave. He's down there in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, I was a member of his church for a while. I love those guys, and he just preached on it. Yeah. Just said that's the most blasphemous thing ever. And I was like, every church said, no, he's out. Yeah. Ecumenical Council, he's out.
No, but we get the leaders we deserve.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, so I've been kind of trying to put all this together, kind of what's been going on today, and then with what happened with Georgia yesterday. So it looks like we're going to lose 2 Senate seats, and then that means the Democrats are going to control the House.
Who's we?
It looks like they're going to control.
That's what I was wondering, Tim. Like, who's
looks
we?
like Republicans are going to. And then
you can be on their team if you want.
And then the Democrats are going to control the Senate, and then of course it looks like the Democrats are going to control the executive branch with President Biden.
So you have just to be clear on the Senate. The reason why this is a runoff race. The crazy thing. The reason why we're still talking about Senate is because back on November 3rd, no winner got 50% of the vote.
Right. And so you can have, in Georgia, you can have like 4 Republicans running.
Yeah.
And
It's a horse
5
race.
Democrats.
It's a horse race.
And then whoever gets the top 2 majority, you got a majority, 51%
But you have
vote.
to get at least 50%,
To win.
and nobody got 50%.
Yeah.
So then they take the top
4.
yeah. and they do a runoff so that somebody gets 50%. The reason why everybody really cares, I mean, there's runoff elections periodically. It's not that rare. The reason why everyone cares is because these last 2 seats basically are
Tip the House. Tip the Senate.
The Senate, because there's only 100 seats, two senators per state. And currently you have 50 Republicans, and you have
possibly 50 Democrats, possibly
48. And
currently,
there's a couple of independents like Bernie Sanders, but they all vote Democrat.
Yeah. Right.
And so, but if the 2 Democrats that are currently, as we speak,
It's
projected
49
to win
right now
is going to be 50. And then what happens is that if you have a split Senate, the vice president is the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Right.
And so in this case, since the
Kamala Harris.
presumption is that Kamala Harris is going to be the new vice president, she's the tiebreaker, and so it's considered a Democrat-controlled Senate.
Freedom.
Oh, don't.
Freedom.
So stop it. In 2000, there was also a even split.
Yeah.
But in 2000, George W. Bush beat Gore.
Right.
After the Supreme Court ruling.
Right.
Over the
Hanging Chads.
Hanging
The
Chads in Florida.
Yeah.
And so that was considered, even though it was a 50-50 split, it was actually considered a Republican-controlled Senate
Right.
because you had a Republican executive vice president.
Right. So here's what I'm thinking, just kind of based off this last basically 36 hours of information that I've been watching going on with it.
I'm excited. Tell us. What have you been thinking?
First, I think now it looks like the Democrats are going to have the House and Senate and executive branch.
In the presidency.
Executive branch.
That's executive
branch.
I just repeated it for you.
Is there an echo in here? Hey, Neil, you want to fix my mic? It's got to.
Call me the parrot.
And the presidency.
So, I think it's time for the Republicans to clean house. I mean, even if we lose for the next 12 years, we don't have the House and Senate now. We aren't going to have that presidency, the executive branch.
Presidency,
Also the presidency.
And so exactly. And so I think we need to get rid of Mitch McConnell, get rid of all the guys.
Yeah.
Like the Republicans just revamp and
but the
basically
thing is,
rebrand or not rebrand, but reform back to its roots. But Jesus is king and he's Lord of Lords and we're conservatives and we fight for lower taxes, we fight for ending abortion, we fight for all these things, but primary our focus is that Jesus is king of the public square.
When you say clean house, how does that process begin? What does it look like to clean house? Because right now the next 2 years is basically what the time frame you have before you can.
Well, you got to understand there's this kind of a cloud that the Republican Party holds over its people and saying, hey, look, we have to keep Republicans in office. Because if we don't, then the Democrats are going to get their way. Well, they're already going to get their way. And so they're always trying to put the most moderate person in front of you.
Yeah, so they can win the
But I think what you have is there's actually a 3-way tug of war going on here.
Yeah.
And I think occasionally 2 of the sides kind of line up. But I think what you have is you have the Rhino Party.
Yeah.
You have Mitch McConnell and sort of the fat cat.
Cocaine Mitch.
Woo. Okay.
But
how you really feel?
This is the country club Republican,
right? That's right.
Kind of thing. And then you have this Trump thing.
Yeah, no, this is a new dynamic,
which is this sort of populist. I don't know what, and it sort of sometimes is. Just there's the Trump thing. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
But the third thing though is conservative Christians.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and I would even say maybe there's a libertarian strand also.
But
Rand Paul, that kind of stuff.
Conservative Christians are mostly
we'll fill inside that.
Some sort of libertarian,
leaning, Christian libertarian of some sort, mostly. And then there's a bunch that don't even care about the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Okay, but if we're talking about Republican Party, I think we have those 3.
Yeah.
I think we have conservative Christians, Bible-believing Christians.
Rhinos.
And then you have rhinos, and then you have the Trump populist thing.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think, for the last 4 years, I think there's been a lot more, there's been quite a bit of overlap with the Trump populist thing, but it's not been clean at all.
Right.
I mean, I think a lot of conservative Christians have been very, very grateful for his court appointments. Grateful for being outspoken about abortion and
cancel culture.
The fact that he's punching our enemies in the face,
and against all the critical race theory and some of these things. I think he's been, but fiscally kind of all over the place.
Right.
Kind of.
I mean, I think, yeah.
He's been. Come on. I mean, he wants 2,000 instead of 600 for checks. That's all I gotta say. Just start there. That's on top. Okay, that's just on top.
But at least he pointed out the fact that we were sending 7 billion across out of
Pakistan and all that stuff. Yeah.
So I mean, but anyways, it's he brought he's trying to bring military home, making peace in various places. I mean, there's things there where you feel like that lines up. Yeah. But there's still a lot of crazy stuff where like him telling Pence to overturn electoral votes
when he has no authority to
stop
is just this. I mean, that's the fat cat thing. That's Mitch McConnell with an attitude.
Right.
It's the same kind of thing, playing games.
Yeah, right.
But I think when you say we need to clean house, the question though, I mean, I know what you mean, and I think you're talking about that third pocket of conservative Bible believing Christians saying Jesus is king.
I would even say both 3 and 2. Let's get back to our Christian roots.
Right, but I think what I'm saying though is that I mean Trump's a mixed bag.
Yeah, right.
I'm grateful for all the things that he's helped us with. But it's
very
really
true.
been a mixed bag. And there's a bunch of people though saying, I haven't read on that. I don't know this for sure, but a lot of people are saying, look, there's enough people that are just done with Trump, done with that attitude.
Yeah. I'd say our friend David Bonson is. National Review in a lot of ways.
Yeah, Eric Erickson is saying this down in Georgia. He's Atlanta. He said basically, look, get this through your heads, people.
Yep.
The reason why we lost those 2 Senate seats is because there's enough people. It's not it's not this massive majority, but there's enough people that said I'm done with Trump.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'm done with and if Trump is who you're running with, then I'm not voting for it.
But here's where Eric loses me a little bit because, like, really, Fidel Castro, Warnock,
that's
really.
But it's different. No, but his point is people. It's not that people are voting for Warnock instead of them.
No,
it's people staying home.
Okay,
saying I'm not going to vote.
Yeah.
If God wanted me to vote, He'd give me options.
Yeah, right. He'd give me someone to vote for.
And that matters. So I mean, if you saw the Senate race of 50%, 51, 50.6. I mean, it's tiny. Like we're talking just a few thousand votes is the difference here between these 2 seats. And what does that? Is there 3,000 people, Republicans, Christians, people out there who said, you know what? Yeah, I hate Warnock.
Right.
I hate him.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm tired of that.
Right.
Telling Pence just cancel the electoral votes.
Yeah, right.
I don't want that either.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's other people, Tom McClintock is a conservative Republican from California. He's a representative.
He's one of the few people standing up. Yeah.
And he came out and said, look, I do think there was probably widespread fraud. I think it might have been enough to even have changed the outcome of the election.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, here's where we are.
Yeah.
We ran all the plays we could.
Yeah.
The court said no. And then he said, when you can't do more, he's not going to object. His point was, look, I agree that there was problems. We need to try to fix those problems. But he said, there is a way of trying to fix these problems that makes things worse.
Right.
It basically hands the power to Congress, hands the power for elections and the electoral college to the feds.
That's right. And here's the question we always ask is like, hey, what if the Democrats were in control trying to run the same play?
Exactly.
And we'd be like, no, you can't do it.
Pastor Doug likes
we don't want to tear that around.
Pastor Doug likes to say there's no situation that's so bad that you can't make it worse.
That's
right.
Part of it, and this is what we talked about a couple weeks back as far as like, okay, so then do we go right for the guns? Right? Did we go right for the blow the everything up switch? And it's like, well, no, we haven't run all the other plays before we get there yet either. We were talking about this a little bit, and it's like I want to go back to what you talk about cleaning up, because I think this is a really important thing to talk about, especially this coming year.
Yeah.
We don't know what cleanup looks like, and to be honest, we should have started it when we saw Trump get elected. Yeah. Because if you looked at Trump, and this is what I think some of the other guys who I disagree with are trying to say, who've never been supportive of Trump, if Trump is your guy, you're still in massive trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that, I think if the non-Trumpers would have said that really clearly, it's like, okay, guys, listen, I know we got a little win here. That's great. But now is the time to do the real cleanup.
Mm-hmm. They had the chance. Remember, the Republicans, when Trump got elected, they had the House and the Senate.
Right.
But they
didn't get rid of Obamacare. They didn't do anything about abortion. And they didn't do anything about shoring up what's coming the next 6 years.
Right.
Like they did nothing.
Yeah.
Zero. That's why they all need to go.
But I think that at least part of it, I don't know how much of it, but I think part of it is because Trump wouldn't let him.
Yeah.
No, Trump gave him all sorts of opportunity.
To do what?
to get rid of Obamacare.
Well, I think
he kept calling for it.
But I think
and he said, I will sign it, put it on my desk, and he couldn't get them to do anything.
Maybe on that particular matter. But I think in terms, that's not cleaning house.
No, that's not clean. No, that's exactly what I was about to say.
But that's taking the dirty diaper off the top of the trash.
Yeah.
I like when you use poo. I like when you use that's what I'm talking about. Give me some. Don't let me in here. Listen, the real cleanup, I think if 2020 hasn't taught us anything, the real cleanup needs to be at the very local level as much as possible.
Yeah, certainly.
I think we need to look at the next 10 years and say, okay, the top's a little messed up.
Who's our sheriff?
Let's go. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's
Who's
go.
our county
We need to
commissioner?
have the Rocky build-up montage. You remember the Rocky build-up montage?
Oh, yeah.
Every Rocky film, he goes and he loses and he goes back, digs a little deeper and starts saying, I need to get better.
Start doing some push-ups.
And it's always in a little hole.
Yeah.
It's always in a little hole where nobody's watching. Yeah. And that hole right now is at our local level of politics.
He's trying to run up the stairs.
Yeah.
Can't quite make it up. He's really exhausted. And then at the end, he gets all the way to the top.
But we need to look and say, okay, the reason that we don't have the congressmen, the senators that we really need in place right now, and the reason the laws aren't changing is because we don't have them at the local level with our own mayors and our own. Think about how many sheriffs are we going. If we were thinking about inviting people to our conference, well, we say, well, we want this guy here.
It's a long list, right?
You know what I mean? That's exactly
we were like
right.
Sheriff Wheeler.
Yeah, and because we weren't
Sheriff Wheeler, you got any friends?
There were some sheriffs
He's coming to our conference, so I don't know.
There were some sheriffs who lucked up on it. Yeah. They just lucked up on it because they're small enough towns. Yeah. But there's very few sheriffs who knew, like, no, this is absolutely unconstitutional and not just unconstitutional, it's unbiblical. Right. It was those two needed to marry.
Or where are your governors?
Can't even get there yet. We got one governor in all of America.
You know, and a couple others that are kind of sort of trying. Yeah. Maybe DeSantis.
So I think we need to go back to the very local form of politics, because even while we're talking about Obamacare and all these, we got that stuff because of our local politics being trash.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I mean, I'm gonna push it even more practical.
Yes.
And say we will not win these culture wars until conservatives completely walk away from government schools.
That's it.
Yeah. That's true.
Well, can I take you back one? That's true. Why can't we walk away from government schools? What's the excuses?
Man.
What? Come on now. Where's that coming from? Well, wife's got to do this. We can't do it at home.
Got to have a second car.
We have not designed and built our houses in a way that fears God. Yeah. Well, we have to have government schools.
Yeah, we don't care that much.
That's right. That's right.
So this whole moment, like, I think everyone is starting to maybe feel like, oh no, the Democrats have the House, they have the Senate, they have the presidency.
Yeah.
And
the executive branch.
And the executive branch. I mean, I couldn't believe, like, first they had the presidency, and now the executive branch.
That's not what I was doing.
I know. It's having fun. It's fun. It's fun.
But
and so what got me, so everyone feels like this is like a Geronimo moment, like, oh no, we're screwed the next 4 years. But
we are.
And there's some truth to that. I'm not.
We are.
But we kind of.
That's going to say it's not nothing new.
But I think here's how we actually need to be thinking about this moment. Exactly. Here's how we need to be thinking about this moment. You know, remember when David went and kind of all his arrogance, he ordered Joab to go do a census.
Yeah.
On the land,
right?
And then Joab does that, and he counts everybody except for the Levites and the Benjaminites, Benjaminites,
yeah, and the executive branch,
the tribe of Benjamin,
executive branch, and the presidency,
tribe of Benjamin,
and the tribe of Benjamin,
yeah,
and then so Joab stops there, and he's like, this is wrong. I'm done. I'm not wasting any more time.
Yeah.
And then the prophet Gad confronts David on the census.
Yeah.
And the prophet Gad says, okay, you got three options.
Yeah. You're in trouble, first of all.
First
you'll get that high whooped.
First, you're in trouble.
And it's what, 3 months, 3 years, 3 months, 3 days. Is that what that was options?
Yeah.
And the last option was the 3-day option, and was God was going to punish you.
3 days of like plague,
and I think God was going to send the angel of death basically throughout the land.
3 years of was it famine, and then 3 months of getting
wars,
chased by your enemies.
Yeah, that's right. And David's like, I want to fall into the hands.
I'm not going to pick
under the judgment of my God.
Yeah,
he picked 3 days, right?
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did. He picked 3 days.
No.
Yeah.
No.
What?
He said, I'm not going to pick.
A biblical disagreement on the show right now?
Yeah, right now.
Right now? No.
He says, I'm not going to pick. He says, I'm going to put myself in the hands of God. Yeah. God picks.
Hang Oh, you looking it up, Knox? I think he picked.
This is your story. Go ahead.
No, this is my story.
I know we're going to be reading tonight in your household.
First Chronicles chapter 21.
He says, I'm not going to pick you. I'm going to fall into the hands of God.
I think he's actually right.
And then God picks the 3 days.
No, here's what he said. Hang on here. And David said to God, was it not I who gave the command to number the people? It was I who have sinned and done great evil. But these sheep, what have they done? Please let your hand, O Lord, my God, against me and against my father's house, but do not let the plague be on your people. Now the angel of the Lord commanded Gad to say to David that David should go up and raise an altar to the Lord on the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. So David went up. David came.
He asked not to be ravaged by the plague.
David gave me the threshing.
I think he just says, I'm going to go into let myself into the hands of God. And then I think the plague falls.
Okay. Well, neither here nor there. I'll finish reading that here.
There.
The point is that David gave it over to God and said, I want to fall into your hands.
Yeah.
I want to fall into your judgment because I know you're
please
merciful.
Don't bring the plague.
I'm still going to get judged, but I want to get judged by you, knowing that you're merciful.
And he's also wanting to say, "Look, this is my fault." Like,
he owned it.
This is my idea,
and this is how we need to be thinking about this moment right now. We need to not be scared about or nervous or fearing whatever God might do through Biden. We want to go to God and say, "Hey, look, we've been sinning for these decades. Please forgive us. We want to fall into your judgment, and we want your judgment to come upon us. We know you're merciful, but we want your judgment to come upon us, and that's what we should be praying and asking for instead of being like, trying to hold on to whatever
God,
we can
remove your judgment.
Right?
No.
Show us the ways that we have been complicit in this mess,
and judge us.
We should
be asking God for judgment on us.
But the thing is that when God's people ask God to judge them, they know that God is judging. God judges his people not to destroy them.
No, for their
good. But for their good.
That's right.
And it sometimes hurts. It sometimes is sharp. But it's for their good. Yeah. And so when you ask God to judge you, you're asking him, this is the end of Psalm 139. David says, search me, try my heart, see if there's anything unclean inside of me.
That's right.
And lead me in the way everlasting. One of the glaring places, though, is that Christians keep giving their kids to the government and saying, you raise my kids.
That's right.
What do you get when you have a government and you have Christian pastors saying, well, it's neither here nor there. It's doesn't really matter. Just do your best with homeschooling, Christian schooling, or public schooling.
Right.
No, you cannot look to the government to raise your kids. You cannot look to the government to disciple your kids, right? 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. Yeah. And then be shocked and surprised when you have kids turning out who don't love the Lord, can't think in a straight line, and don't know what they're doing.
Think mass work and social distancing works and
all this craziness.
Right.
I mean, that's where we are. Right. But again, that goes back to local, starting with your own kids,
that's right,
and then your own marriage, your own family, and that includes things like Are you going to keep paying the taxes to support the government schools?
Yeah.
I mean, why do we not have counties that are conservative Christian counties saying, look, if you don't want to send your kids to the government schools, you don't have to pay for it.
Yep, that's right.
You can use your tax money to pay for a Christian education
because we have our kids in government schools.
That's right. That's right.
That's exactly right.
So I think this is one of the great high places in our land. It's one of the great idols of our land. Yep. And until conservative Christians say, look, we're not doing that.
That's right.
We're not doing that anymore. Until they do that, we're going to continue to lose in these culture wars because you can't send your kids to Philistines to be trained and then expect them to
fight the Philistines.
No. They are Philistines. That's what you're discipling them to be. Last thing, the other thing we need men to be men.
That's right.
That's right.
And so I'm going to throw out a quick plug for my friend Larson. His conference is called Stronghold 2021. It's on biblical masculinity down in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah.
So if you're anywhere in the neighborhood of Huntsville, Alabama, check out Stronghold 2021 on biblical masculinity. Vodi Bachum's going to be there.
Yes.
Vodi Bachum's going to be there.
Right.
George Grant, Michael Foster.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Rich Lusk and our boy Ben Merkel, president of NSA.
Shout out
Ben.
Ben.
If you go down there, bring me some Alabama white sauce and some barbecue chicken.
January 17th and 18th. It's coming up. MLK Day. This is a different kind of MLK conference. Huntsville, Alabama, hosted by Trinity Reformed Church, Huntsville, Alabama. Check it out. Stronghold 2021 on biblical masculinity.
What's the website?
Y'all need some of that.
What's the website?
I don't see a website, but just search.
Google it.
Stronghold 2021, biblical masculinity.
Huntsville,
Alabama.
Okay.
It's in 11 days.
If you're single, get married. If you're married, have kids. If you have kids, go baptize them. Until Sunday, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast.
We'll see you in South Dakota.
That's right.
I'm going to rally.
Hey, do you get the Daily News Brief? Get the Daily News Brief. Sign up and get the app right now. Go to your favorite app store and download the Fight, Laugh, Feast app. You should have it because you're going to need it this year. This is Cross Politic. Cheer. Cheer.